Ag PhD full episodes and more are now available on Acres TV, the newest ag platform connecting you to fields of information. Look for us on watchacrestv.com. In today's Farm Basics, we're going to discuss soil temperature and how much that can vary throughout a single day.
So about, 6-7 years ago, something like that, we talked to South Dakota State University because they wanted to have a weather station just in our region. And we said, you know what, we'd be willing to sponsor that, put it right on our farm. That'd be great. It'd be super interesting and a learning experience. Well, one of the things I learned the most about was soil temperature, because I just assumed, you know what, a soil temperature can vary 2 or 3 degrees if we're looking at 4 inches deep down in the soil. Because, every year we would look at when we're going to plant, what's the soil temperature and all that kind of thing. Well, with this weather station that they put up, it would measure temperature, soil temperature, 4 inches deep, every 5 minutes. And so now we have all kinds of data from the last quite a few years. And it is shocking to me how much just in a single day that soil temp can vary.
And I'm pretty sure Brian was just watching that gauge every 5 minutes through the day to see what it went. Because in the spring, we are watching it and we are thinking, well, everybody says we need to plant at 50-degree soil temperature. And it was really amazing for me to see, wow, that soil temperature varies a lot during the day. And even days that start out kind of cool, could be 50 degrees later, or they could start out warm and be cold later.
That's the whole thing. So when I'm talking to farmers that say, well, I have to plant when the soil temp's 50, I'm like, well, you know what, on my farm, it was 36, but it was also 56. They're like, what? No. Yes, we've had many, many days in the spring where the soil temp will vary 20 degrees in a single day, and that's in the spring. Now, when we get into the summer, could it vary even more than that? Sure, it could. So when you start thinking about, all right, what's the soil temperature? What's that ideal soil temp that I want to plant at? Just understand that it's going to vary a lot during the day, and that's at 4 inches deep, and we have pretty heavy soil. And I could see it if I had lighter soil, that it would vary more. I can also say this, if your soil is drier, it will vary more than if your soil is wetter. So just something to keep in mind.
Now, in the middle of the growing season, here's one thing I like to think about soil temperature too. As soon as we get crop canopy, where the crop leaves completely shade out the ground, that ground stays much cooler. And when that's cooler, the root system is cooler, and that gives the crop quite a break, quite an advantage too for holding moisture underneath that crop canopy. So I really like getting crop canopy earlier. One of the ways you can do that is by planting a little bit earlier and doing everything to encourage good growth early in the season. It's so valuable for keeping that soil a little bit cooler later on.
So once again, with soil temp, it can vary a tremendous amount each day, and that's the big thing that we wanted to share with you today.
Well, one thing that soil temperatures can't do is just stop our Weed of the Week 100%. But we'll show you what will coming up later in the show.